everyone, I'm Becky.
And I'm Sarah.
And we're doing Bickering book reviews. Today we are talking about Let's Call It a Doomsday by Katie Henry, which I listened to the audiobook.
I listened and read.
You listened and read.
Because it helps.
So this book is about Ellis Kimball, and Ellis Kimball lives in Berkeley, and her family is Mormon, and she is kind of struggling against some of their beliefs and their teachings, but she's also convinced the world's going to end. And she's not necessarily like a full-blown, well, she's a prepper. She's a prepper. She has supplies and stuff. She's not a survivalist. She says that there's a difference. And so she's actually in therapy for this. And her parents are like, okay, you need to get over this. And she's like, no, the world is going to end. So one day she's leaving the therapist and she meets Hannah Marks. And Hannah says to her, I had a dream. We were together. The world ended. And so Ellis gets convinced the world's going to end. And they've got to basically figure out a way to stop that. And so she's pulled into Hannah's world. She makes friends with Hannah's friends, particularly the adorable Tell, who used to go to church with her and who there might be something a little bit more than that with. But she also kind of starts to discover stuff about herself. She realizes that she might not just be only attracted to boys. She might also be attracted to girls. She kind of learns about her parents more in her life. But she's also convinced the world is going to end. And that's kind of like very vaguely what the story's about. So I was a little disappointed by this book because I really liked Katie Henry's Heretics Anonymous. And this book didn't like speak to me on the same level.
I was convinced that something was a hallucination. Convinced.
I kind of thought that...
And this isn't that kind of book.
It's not. I thought that was coming too, and then the hallucination was interacting with things. I was like, oh, maybe not.
I was convinced.
So my thing is, like, there's a lot of stuff Katie Henry is trying to do with this book, and I think what she's trying to do with it's great. I think that the fact that she's exploring religion is wonderful, and you don't see that a lot in teen books. I think the fact that she's exploring religion and also exploring sexuality through the same lens. So yes, you can be this religious person and you can start to question your sexuality.
Well, and I think she's providing a different example of what it is to be Mormon.
That's
true. You know what I mean? Because when you think of Mormons, you have a very specific idea of who they are and what they believe and how that, manifests itself in our world. But this really kind of shows that there are different levels of Mormons, just like there are different levels of, Christians or whatever. So I thought that was really interesting and important.
Right, and she also kind of talked about how you might believe something, but the religion doesn't actually fit you, and you might have to kind of shop around for a religion that actually is your beliefs, because that's kind of like what Tal was going through. And she's also, it's very it's very pro-therapy. It's
pro-therapy, but, like, getting back to the religion, she's also talking about how, like, you don't have to believe in everything that your religion does, or you don't have, like... And I think that that's very true. I think even from my own personal life, like, there are certain things that, like, maybe the Catholic Church believes, but I'm not, like, about that.
Well, that's true.
About that life. And I think that that is very interesting and it's a very real discussion.
It is.
On how religion is in your life.
And
yes, pro-therapy.
It's very pro-therapy. Like, the therapy is acceptable. It's, like, just, like, part of what you do. Multiple people are in therapy. It also kind of gives you a different view of homelessness.
Okay.
So there's a lot of, like, good stuff going into it. I just didn't like the way it was told. Like, the narrative voice never really connected with me.
I just don't think I like the characters. Like, I don't think I like the main character, and I definitely didn't like Hannah.
Yeah, I tried. I really did.
Like, and by the end of it, I hated Hannah.
It was like a challenge to get me to read this. Like, I was listening to it, and like I was literally on my way to work yesterday. I'm like, I'm so close to being done with this. I should just finish listening to it. And instead, I listened to the Come From Away soundtrack, which is excellent. So there is that.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, and y'all know me. Like, I love prepper books. Like, I'm all about the apocalypse, but. No.
Well, I also, like, because there was this idea that Ellis, like, wasn't, like, yes, she truly believed this, and that might not be the best mental health-wise, but she wasn't, like, the world is going to end and I have to save myself. She wanted to save her family. She was convinced something bad was going to happen to her family. All of this was planned, which I think that's even a different way to look at it prepping. So, like, there's so many, like, unique perspectives coming into this book. It just didn't...
Well, no, especially how, like, her religion created this prepper of her. Like, the religion says you need to have this much stuff.
Have stores,
like you have to have stores, and everybody in her religion had it. So, like, she just took it a little bit to more extreme. But I also think that it was interesting that they were talking about bisexuality, right? Like, how there's the talk of like religion and how, well, it'll just be easy if you just like the opposite sex, and like the person is like, no, but like it doesn't work that way.
Yes.
And it was just like a very interesting kind of conversation on the sexuality.
So the whole book
in religion
should have been something I loved. I just didn't get there. So
I think I just didn't like the characters.
I didn't.
Or like the way it was told, I guess.
That's basically where I am. So we should just rate it. So.
But I think I'd give this to readers. Like
I think so, and
I think there are readers out there for it.
And I could see this on like some best of lists because of the way all the conversation comes together. It's like all the ingredients are good, but I didn't like the soup.
And this is getting Prince buzz. I think that's kind of how I came across it. So just so you know,
I came up because I loved Heretics Anonymous. So I was like,
I don't know if I read that.
So I was like, I want to read this. Okay, so we should rate it. Our rating system starts at the top with 5 unicorns. We go down to 2 unicorns. If we don't like it, it's a horse.
Oh, this is where I actually like rate it. I'm gonna give it 3 unicorns because it was just.
I'm mad at 3 because I liked all the pieces. I just didn't like the whole.
Fair.
So that is where we are. We'll see you around.
See ya.
Bye.